The day I became the most despised man in Willow Grove was the same day I claimed its greatest power. It started with a $500 fine from Linda Carver and her homeowners association for fishing with my grieving daughter, Emily. What they didn't know was that I had 4 million reasons to fight back and enough resolve to wield every one of them. My name is Nathan Caldwell, and until 3 months ago, I was living what many would call the American dream. I'd spent 15 years in private equity, cashing out my shares in biotech startups for enough to retire at 43. But money doesn't shield you from loss. My wife, Sarah, lost her fight with leukemia a year ago, leaving me to raise our 14-year-old daughter alone. Grief nearly broke us. The only thing that helped was Fishinga ritual weed shared with Sarah before her illness took over. So, when I decided we needed a fresh start, I searched for a home near water, a place to heal. Willow Grove seemed perfect. Elegant homes, top schools, and a pristine 6-acre lake at its heart. The realtor mentioned the HOA but brushed it off as routine lawn rules, paint colors, nothing major. She paused before adding, Linda Carver, the HOA president, is very focused on property values. I should have caught the hesitation in her voice. I'd dealt with tough negotiators my whole career. How bad could one suburban gatekeeper be? I found out on a quiet April morning. Emily and I were at the community lake, fishing off a small dock. It was the first time I'd seen her smile in weeks, her face lighting up as she reeled in a sunfish, carefully unhooking it. Then a sharp voice sliced through the calm. What do you think you're doing? A woman in her late 50s approached, dressed in pristine yoga gear, her blonde bob flawless, her expression like she'd caught us stealing. She clutched a tablet, radiating authority. Good morning, I said, keeping my tone warm. Just fishing with my daughter. I'm Nathan Caldwell. We moved to Maple Lane 2 months ago. I offered my hand. She ignored it, tapping her tablet. Mr. Caldwell, fishing is prohibited in our lake. It's a violation of HOA rules. I'm Linda Carver, HOA president. She said her title like it carried a crown. The fine is $500. Emily froze beside me. There's a mistake, I said, still calm. The realtor said fishing was a community perk. It's why we chose this place. Linda's smile was thin, cold. The rule changed last month. All residents were notified by email. Ignorance doesn't excuse violations. She showed me a document on her tablet, Amendment to Lake Use, dated 4 weeks ago. We never got that email, I protested. I oversee all communications, Linda said, unshakable. Check your spam. I'm not responsible for residents who don't read. My jaw tightened, but I kept my cool. Why ban fishing? The lake stocked, I can see fish right there. Linda glanced at our tackle box with disdain. Environmental and safety issues. Hooks harm wildlife, and bait smells disturb residents enjoying lake views from their patios. Her tone shifted, her eyes flicking to Emily. New residents sometimes struggle with our standards. This isn't a public fishing spot. The implication hit like a slap classist, maybe worse. Emily sniffled, tears brimming. This was our sanctuary, a place to feel Sarah's presence, and Linda was tearing it apart. We'll pack up, I said quietly, wrapping an arm around Emily. Email me the fine and updated rules. Linda's smile returned, smug. Good. Check your email more carefully, Mr. Caldwell. We don't want more misunderstandings. She strode off, her sneakers silent on the manicured grass. As we gathered our gear, Emily whispered, Dad, why was she so mean? We weren't hurting anything. I didn't have a clean answer. Some people love rules more than kindness, sweetheart, I said. Let's go home. That afternoon, I scoured my email, no trace of the rule change, not even in spam. Curiosity turned to suspicion, and I dug into the HOA. Linda Carver wasn't just a busybody. She owned a boutique real estate firm specializing in luxury communities. Social media showed her hosting lakeside parties, wine, music, no fishing bans in sight. A buried HOA clause revealed the lake wasn't theirs. It belonged to Horizon Properties, leased to the HOA for 30 years, set to expire in weeks. That evening, watching Linda laugh with friends at a lakeside gazebo, I muttered, They want to play rules? Let's see who really owns this water. The next morning, I met Arthur Brennan, a retired lawyer walking his dog by my house. When I mentioned Linda, his face soured. Met our local tyrant, huh? She slaps fines on anyone who blinks wrong. Most just pay and shut up. He invited me for coffee, and over a strong brew in his book-lined home, he spilled the dirt. The lake's owned by Horizon, not the HOA. Their lease ends soon. Linda's been cozying up to them, planning to buy it for her company, not the community. She wants to build luxury homes, shrink public access. He showed me documents confirming Horizon's financial woes overextended on failed projects, desperate to sell assets like the lake, valued at $300,000. Linda's real estate empire is a house of cards, Arthur added. She's leveraged to the hilt, needs this deal to stay afloat. Arthur introduced me to Marcus Tate, a retired banker who'd clashed with Linda over her selective enforcement. In his tidy study, Marcus revealed a decade-long database of HOA actions. She targets people like me, black, new, or outspoken, he said, showing spreadsheets. Homeowners of color got triple the violations of white neighbors. New residents were fined for things veterans ignored. Properties sold under duress often went to Linda's shell company's Willow Investments. Carver Holdings set bargain prices, then flipped for profit. The lake's her big score, Marcus said. She's banning fishing to clear it for development. The pattern was clear. Linda wasn't just enforcing rules, she was running a racket. Linda's campaign against me escalated. Fines piled up, $100 for weeds, $200 for wrong mailbox height, $150 for my garage doors, offensive beige, despite prior approval. When Emily left her bike in the driveway for 10 minutes, a violation notice appeared, complete with photos. Someone was watching our house. Allies faced similar heat. Maria Lopez, a nurse, got cited for her lawn being a quarter-inch too tall. James Carter, a teacher, was fined for a 15-year-old birdhouse. Diana Reed, a widow, got nailed for her trash bin's placement. Linda's allies spread rumors, and Emily came home crying after classmates, egged on by Linda's friend Veronica Hayes, called her a troublemaker. I considered selling, but Arthur's words stopped me. She's driven out 6 families this way. Don't let her win. Secretly, our resistance grew. We held discreet meetings at Marcus's house, the library, a bakery's back room swapping stories of Linda's abuses. A secure messaging group swelled to 30 households, a quarter of Willow Grove. Meanwhile, I tapped my old finance contacts. Horizon was bleeding cash, their credit lines maxed after a botched mall project. The lake was their last unencumbered asset. Through Marcus's banking connections, I learned Linda offered $300,000, financed over 18 months. I could do better. I met David Lee, a real estate broker, at a coffee shop 20 miles away. Linda's stretched thin, he said. Her company's a mirage loans on loans. She needs the lake to survive. He confirmed Horizon would take a cash offer to close fast. I devised a plan. Buy the lake outright, but wait until Linda publicly staked her reputation on it. I offered Horizon $350,000, all cash, through Caldwell Ventures, LLC, closing in 7 days. They bit. An environmental test showed the lake suffering algae blooms, stressed fish from HOA neglect, not fishing. I hired a conservation group to plan restoration and a security firm for protection. Linda, oblivious, grew bolder, announcing a special HOA meeting to unveil her lake vision. She hired architects for renderings shrinking the lake for a members-only lounge, wiping out fishing spots. She pushed a $50 monthly assessment per household, claiming it was for maintenance, but really to fund her bid. At the meeting, she smeared me without naming me, warning of newcomers, threatening property values. Marcus stood up, only for Linda to drag up a resolved tax audit, painting him as a deadbeat. When Sophia Bennett, a florist, suggested a vote on lake rules, Linda hinted at derailing her shop's lease renewal. The room cowed, but I held the deed. Days before, Horizon's lawyer called Linda, canceling her deal. She showed up at my door, composure cracking. What did you do? Did you sabotage my deal? I smiled. No idea what you mean, Linda. I heard the lake sold. Hope you know the new owner. Her eyes narrowed. The HOA has a recreational use agreement. They can't block access. Check the terms, I said. It expires in 30 days, and renewals up to the owner. She paled but stormed off, vowing to sue. Over the next week, she scrambled, calling closed-door meetings, enlisting Mayor Thomas Reed, her cousin, by Mariagito push zoning ploys. Arthur confirmed they were baseless. The lake was private property. Linda's desperation peaked with a lakeside gala for original residents, excluding newcomers, to reclaim the lake. Catered food, wine bars, music was her last stand. I'd already voided the HOA's lease early, citing their water quality neglect. With Arthur, Marcus, my attorney, and a police officer, I crashed the party. Taking the mic, I announced, "I'm the legal owner of this lake and its shoreline. You're trespassing on my property." I held up the deed. "The HOA's lease is terminated. You have 15 minutes to leave." Linda's face turned crimson. "This is HOA property." "It never was," I said. "Meridian owned it until I bought it 3 days ago." The crowd murmured as I continued. "This is what happens when you let someone abuse power. Consider it a lesson." Officer Daniels stood ready with a trespassing complaint. The party dissolved, residents glaring at Linda. I installed no trespassing signs and 24/7 security, then held a press conference, announcing plans to make the lake renamed Sarah's Lake a fish conservation and educational hub. Water tests exposed HOA neglect, flipping public opinion as Linda's plan to privatize the shoreline leaked. Her lawsuit for community value destruction flopped. My deed was airtight. She tried more fines and a lien, but residents questioned her motives. Sophia spoke at an HOA meeting, exposing Linda's favoritism $80,000 for a park serving her allies' homes, while kids' playgrounds were ignored. Others shared stories, and a motion passed to audit 5 years of HOA finances. I sweetened the pot. Free fishing passes for kids, except those of HOA leaders until they resigned. It worked. Veronica Hayes, Linda's ally, quit the board after begging for her son's pass. 2 others followed. Linda's final mistake was bribing Arthur to scare me off, unaware he recorded it. "I'll erase your violations and give you a board seat," she said. "Just convince Caldwell the lake's a liability." Arthur, a retired ethics lawyer, handed me the tape with a grin. Then, security cameras caught Linda and 2 board members sneaking onto the lake at night, pouring something into the water likely to fake pollution. I sent the footage to police. Linda faced charges for trespassing and attempted contamination, sparking probes into HOA fund misuse and her real estate scams. I invited all residents except HOA leaders to my home to discuss Sarah's Lake. Nearly every household came. I proposed transferring the lake to a community trust with conditions, restructure the HOA with term limits and transparency, revise rules for fairness, and form an ethics committee. Then I dropped my final card. I'd bought mortgage notes on 20% of the community's homes, including Linda's, through Marcus's banking ties. "I won't foreclose," I said, "but I'll refinance at low rates once we fix this broken system." The vote to oust Linda was near unanimous. She resigned, facing lawsuits and probes. Her home sat unsold, her reputation toxic. Sophia became HOA president, vowing reform. 3 months later, Emily and I hosted a fishing day at Sarah's Lake. Kids laughed, parents mingled across old divides. As the sun set, Emily leaned against me on the dock, smiling fully. "Mom would be proud, Dad." I hugged her. "She'd be proud of us both, kiddo." A year on, Willow Grove led HOA reform, inspiring nearby communities. I funded a scholarship in Sarah's name for kids who'd lost parents to cancer, declining a mayoral run. Sometimes, beating a bully means rewriting the game, not outbullying them. If you're stuck in your own HOA mess, remember, know the rules, wait for your moment, and strike.